was so good. I'm really glad that I discovered core power. I just wanted something that was like a little bit harder. For me, the reason why I can't do those classes often, as someone who works with their upper body a lot as a makeup artist, I use my shoulders to lift things, to position my arm, to do a really good eyeliner. Puts too much strain on my shoulder and I get really bad shoulder fatigue. Core power, because it's weighted yoga classes, so that's nice. I like how there's a little bit of high intensity, but it's not like HIIT or like cardio. Now I'm gonna go get some breakfast alone. Today was a studio day. I was working with one of my usual clients in South San Francisco, which means I had to be out of my house super early. Here's my kit set up. I have a really great station at this location. Here's the lineup of the products that I used. If you have any questions about what I used or how I use them, go ahead and leave me a comment. I'm happy to answer them. I've recently added these 3 palettes from Danessa Myricks into my kit and I really like them. I had some downtime, so I went ahead and cleaned my brushes for the next day because I'm with this client for 2 days. I grew up in the suburbs and didn't have a chance to experience what it was like living in a city until I was about 22 years old. Although there are things about living in a city that I don't like, one of the things that I absolutely love and that brings immense joy to my day-to-day life is just being able to walk everywhere and notice the little details in buildings and flowers and nature. I absolutely love feeling like I'm part of a community and seeing the same faces every day. I think I mentioned this in an earlier video, but I lived in Spain for 6 years in my 20s. I'm really happy that I lived in another country in my 20s because my brain was still flexible. I wasn't set in any of my opinions or my ways of being. And I think that allowed me to be a more adventurous and courageous person. During those years, I also developed a fondness for walking around and people watching. As someone who has always been somewhat of a chatty Cathy and a talker, it was hard for me to live somewhere where I didn't really speak the language, and I had to teach myself how to be quiet. Sometimes there is beauty in just being quiet and listening and seeing what's in front of you. On my way to work. I'm a little nervous for this client. I haven't worked with them before. I'm sure it'll be fine. I'm in Palo Alto. The houses are humongous over here. I don't think I can record anything because I signed a contract, but maybe I can get little glimpses. I went to lunch with the crew. We went to this little diner in downtown Palo Alto. It was really good, and we missed Elon Musk by 10 minutes, by the way. This is my touch-up kit, by the way. It's very small. I just have a few brushes, a fan, which is really important, actually, some hairspray. With my job, it was an interesting one. I think it's interesting to see people who are super, super busy and like always on a schedule and just like in these positions where they have like, you know, thousands of employees under them, I guess you could say, how they engage and interact with other people, allocate their time. It makes me want to be a lot smarter with prioritizing. Day 2 of 3 working with this specific client. I don't think I can really talk about it, but a makeup artist might think this is a little bit boring because the hair and makeup isn't like you're doing anything glamorous or makeup forward. It's essentially just making sure that their skin looks smooth and they have some color in their cheeks and their lips and their eyes are bright and open, and you're essentially keeping the hair tame and clean looking. It can get a little bit monotonous, but the thing that keeps it interesting, and actually one of my favorite parts of being a makeup artist in the commercial world, actually meeting the people and learning about what they do. And then also, I don't know, I feel like they always give me really interesting words of wisdom, I guess you could say. I haven't had that many negative reactions. I always do like a mini consultation, even when it's with talent. to ask them about like their skin type, if they have any allergies or sensitivities, or how their skin wears makeup, if they understand makeup or wear makeup, so that I can prep their skin as best as possible. Obviously, like doing this for a while, you kind of can tell when people have oily skin or really dry skin, or if they're more mature skin, you know what to do. But sometimes I like to ask just to avoid any potential, you know, emergency makeup scenarios.
I'm waiting you to answer the phone. Nothing seems to happen, but the last stage is gone. I hope somewhere your voice promises less and us more. But still
I love people. I know a lot of others do not feel the same way as I do, and I'm actually kind of an omnivore, and I really enjoy being alone. I always meet the most interesting, coolest people in the most normal of setting. Meet a lot of really cool people. Like just now, going to the Pete's, compliment the guy that was working there. He had amazing skin. We started talking about K-beauty. He was telling me about his friend who's getting a nose job, and then I guess he was like, yeah, I told my friend to go to South Korea because they just really understand facial balancing. And I was like, oh yeah, like I've never done any injections or injectables like Botox or filler or anything, but I think if I were to do it, I would want to, well, that would be hard to maintain. But I think that for my first time, I would love to do it in South Korea. I don't know. It's just like interesting. And then we were chatting, and then some guy came in with his dog as I was leaving, and I was talking to the guy, and I was like, the only thing about South Korea is they're anti-freckle. Take that with a grain of salt, but culturally speaking, in South Korea and Japan, you know, they favor that milky, perfect porcelain skin. And so, you know, freckles are the opposite of that. It's pigmentation on the skin. And so they're always trying to get rid of the freckles. And so I just was like, they're anti-freckle. And I like was walking out, and the guy with the dog, he was this older man, goes, who's anti-freckle? I said, oh, I was like, I'm a makeup artist. I love beauty. Beauty is a $1 billion industry that basically loves to focus on our insecurities. We think it's interesting how, depending on, you know, where you live, your insecurities change, because culturally there's different beauty standards. So if you feel ugly where you live, maybe you just need to move, essentially. He was like, there's an episode of The Twilight Zone that you need to watch, and in this episode there's this woman, and she feels really ugly, and she has all this makeup on, and she's laying down to get surgery. She's beautiful by American standards, and then the doctors all turn around and they're all really ugly. This is what my station looks like today. Since I'm working from somebody's table, I want to make sure I didn't damage it, so I pulled everything out of my case, which is a Pelican case. I didn't want it to scratch the table. I had a few minutes of downtime before we started shooting, so I prepped my concealer and my lipstick for my touch-up bag. As soon as I got home, my husband and I walked our dogs, and we were both feeling pretty tired, but then we walked by this cover band that was playing really good Tom Petty covers. We began laughing hysterically to the point where it caused a scene, because the lead singer looks like someone we knew, and for a second we thought it was her, but it wasn't. Then we walked into City Lights to buy a present for a friend, and I ran into this man from New York. We started chit-chatting. My husband recommended him a book. He was really cool. Then he told me not to go upstairs because there was a band playing, and he said it would be awkward, but I went up anyways thinking, oh, it won't be awkward for me, but guess what, it was. So then I left. And then we kept seeing people all over the neighborhood who were dressed up like 1920s flappers, and we couldn't figure out why. And then I looked it up, and I realized that there's this special pop-up theater event that's happening. If you want to go, here's the info. I noticed this house on my walk. I thought it was interesting because it looks like they remodeled the typical traditional Victorian home, but they added Greek details. Our call time was just after noon, so as soon as we got there, we set up and then we had something to eat. The food was really good. I can't show you the set or anything, but it was really beautiful. I can't wait for it to come out. I'll definitely share it with you guys, but this was the house. It was so beautiful. There were so many places to entertain and to sit and to dine. I imagine living here is just magical. I was obsessed with this flower. I don't know if you can tell, but it's kind of two-toned with pink and white. Everyone was super happy with the makeup. It was kind of like a dinner time elevated look, natural but pretty. We had a quick salad before heading back to the city, and I accidentally got us lost. Sorry, Jules. And here's some BTS from one of the models, so you can see what her makeup looks like. There I am with my kit socializing. This was the location, and here's one of the models before. This is her getting her hair done. Jules did her hair and I did her makeup. There she is looking elevated.
¿Qué ciudad tienes esto?
Slowly. I love when they have a mix of like party tones and like vibrant cool tones. Hey Lucy. Okay, something that I learned is that this entire area used to be an estate and it belonged to one person. And that person had these built, these lions, and these are original. And right in front is this little hotel. Apparently it has a lot of historical significance.
Arthur S. Thompson lived there for a whole year while writing some articles for Rolling Stone magazine.
Felt so pretty. No one sent postcards from the city. I've been walking downtown every day. It's better this to always try to fit.
My way to work. I'm working with a brand that you guys all know, but I'd rather just not say here. They're based in San Francisco, and they're one of my, I guess, regular clients now. I started working with them at the beginning of this year, and they keep rebooking me, and I'm really happy about it. I really like working with them, and they always book great models, and they're always happy with the makeup that I do. And another thing I like about the job is it's a standard work day. So everyone I work with is super nice. The team is super amazing. And yeah, today I'm going sans makeup. I think I'm going to apply a little bit of a red lip color when I get to the studio. Curious to know which mascaras are currently y'all's favorites and why. I started using tubing mascaras. I started out with the Thrive Cosmetics mascara, and to be honest, I really love that mascara and I would repurchase it. But the price point is a little bit higher than I like to spend on a mascara. I usually get mascaras when they're either on sale, or if I could get a pro discount, that's ideal. If you follow me on TikTok, you know that I really loved with a D, the Tower 28 mascara. When I first tried it, I was like, oh my gosh, this color is beautiful. The way it applies is beautiful. I like the brush. And then for some reason, the formula changed on me. Love the mascara like 4 months after I've already opened it and used it, because I like when it gets kind of clunky and chunky and it's really easy to work into your lashes. But the Tower 28 one, it was the opposite. It was really easy to apply at first, and then it felt like it got thinner as time went on. Not because there was less product, it was like the formula changed and it was more like liquidy and like slick. I like to have a little bit more density to my actual mascara formulas. I personally prefer a more dense, full bristle on my brush. I like a real brush as opposed to like a silicone brush. I like that the bristles can kind of wiggle as you're like kind of scooping the mascara onto your lashes.
Fun things about it.
like a baby. Zoom me.
Hold on.
Oh, you can't tell.
Over your face.
Whoa. I could never be a model. Whoa. We were all very sleepy. It's hard being in a studio all day with no windows. But we did go sit outside at lunch and the model looked amazing. But I do have to say towards the end of the day, I was starting to feel a little bit drowsy. I think we all were. We were shooting pajamas. And so it was just sleepy time vibes. Might be playing tennis with my friend Chloe. I'm not very good at tennis, but it's always good to play a sport after work if you can. I really want to get into shape and get fit. I joined a gym. I've been trying to go to yoga. I think that doing something every day is the most important thing for me, for helping my hormones, for anxiety relief, and also for feeling healthy. So beautiful. Then we went over to the tennis courts. We played for a little bit. I'm not very good. My husband has to be very patient with me. And then we went and got massages. After we went home and got ready, and I signed us up for this walking tour of the city in Spanish. I don't know, it was fun. I think that it's something cool to do so you could see your city in a new light, and doing it in Spanish was really good for me since it's my second language.
Nothing seems to happen, but the last age is gone. I hope somewhere your voice promises less and us more. But still my pillow's on the floor. Anyone could say that we are never assured, for things we're dreaming of are always out of the store. Pages, a lot of pages to forget. I'm so bored to say, call me if you need a hand. Did you ever think I'm a friend? Everything will come to an end.
I'm taking video right now. Oh, you want to be in it? Okay.
The hardest words to understand, alas, so easy to pretend. But everything will last forever. The rage is come. I felt so young and never grown. Aim you won't match to glow.
Oh my god, I feel like since I started using it like regularly, my skin has looked amazing.
I think, well, you have really good skin. You've always had really good skin. But it looks spectacular today.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Today we did a test shoot. We do test shoots because sometimes, well, first of all, sometimes you want to try out a creative idea and you're not going to do it while you're on a job and basically get more work in a different area. So for example, I really want to do more beauty work. So a lot of my tests revolve around beauty. I had a plan. I went in with a plan, but then the makeup just didn't really work on the model. So I had to make some adjustments and yeah, not great. I wish I would have done different makeup looks, but I wouldn't have known to do those looks without the knowledge that I had today. It was definitely a learning opportunity for me. And tomorrow we have another day of testing, this time with a different model and a different vision. So I'm hoping that I can fulfill the creative vision that I had. I think part of the problem is I think I just went too editorial with some of the makeup and it just wasn't working with like the clothing, with the model, with the hair and everything. So yeah, testing is hard. It's good to test, but sometimes, I don't know, sometimes I wonder like, if I suck, because I'll have an idea and I like won't be able to make the idea come to life. That can be very frustrating. James.
Maybe that one. The trigger was.
The next day, I had the day off, so I met up with my friend Lydia, who's also a stylist in the city. I kept seeing 629, which is my special number. I always see it when I'm with Lydia. She's also my co-host for our podcast. We talk about a lot of different things on our podcast, from fashion and beauty tips and trends to action steps and mindset shifts that you can take to create a life of your own design. We're both eternally optimistic and kind of delusional about creating the things that we want in our lives. I love having a friend that never talks me out of my delusional ideas, but instead encourages them and asks me how we're going to make it happen. I'm so excited to share some work that I did that was published in Iris Kovit book. I am obsessed with the makeup, the styling, the hair. Everything was so cohesive. I'm going to end the vlog here. Thanks for joining me, you guys. It's not easy making an income with your creativity, but I can tell you it's very rewarding when you work really hard and you can see your growth. A lot of my friends and family think I'm this super confident person, but I'm not. Confidence is a muscle. Self-love is a practice. There's more than enough love, money, and success for everyone. So don't worry about what everyone else is doing. Keep moving forward with love and with light in your own lane, doing things your own way, and that's your purpose.